Hey friends, it is Franny of Shine with Franny, and I'm so excited to be sharing some information with you today. So if you did not watch Monday's session, that's okay. We're going to do a quick recap. But if you did watch Monday's session, which we talked all about engaging with your community and 3 simple tips to do that, if you were able to watch, just give me a thumbs up right now. And also, if you are logging on right now, please go ahead and share this as a watch party. Share it with your page, wherever you're watching this from. Share this with others because I have a feeling that this is going to be valuable information. So thank you for the thumbs up to that. Also, go ahead and grab your pen and paper if you're taking notes on a MacBook, laptop, iPad, whatever device you've got. Make sure that you are ready to take some notes. So good to see everybody today. So let's get started. So we're just going to quickly recap Monday's session, which we talked about 3 simple ways to go ahead and engage with your audience. And that was simply asking some questions. 1 is you wanted to go ahead and ask an either or question. 2, you want to ask a yes or no question. And then 3, you want to ask a fill in the blank question. Now, as a former teacher myself, I said that those are not necessarily the best kinds of questions. They're definitely the lower level thinking. They're just a simple yes, no, but guess what? People love sharing their opinions. People love telling you what they think, right? And also, it doesn't take that long. You might even just say, hey, do you want to try an emoji and just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down? People will just thumb through that and toggle, no pun intended. Crack myself up. But with that being said, people can just give an emoji to say yes or no to something. Or, you might just actually do that as a response. I was talking with a friend of mine, Jessica, this morning, and she said, I think one of the fun little posts that she had was just share an emoji of how you're feeling right now with the kids at home on day 3,000 of the quarantine. So it was just a simple call to action, which was just really simple, an emoji. And most people have time for an emoji. I will be honest though, right now, Facebook traffic is up over 50%. So you totally have a captive audience. So if you are a business owner, you definitely want to be using your Facebook account to use this time, not only to engage with your audience and become positioning yourself as the leader and expert in the authority, but also just to kind of be fun. You just want to use this as an opportunity to let your personality shine a little bit. And again, no pun intended on Shine with Franny, little plug to that. So make sure you like Shine with Franny if you're listening to this and you're not already a member of Shine with Franny's community. But with that being said, today, as I mentioned, that we're going to take our plane from the 30,000 foot view and we're going to land it. And so if you have your pencil, paper, notebook, whatever, you're ready to go, you've got your little device that you can record on. I want you to go ahead and grab that because we are going to dive in to how then to extend. So now you've asked the questions, okay? So hopefully if you did part 1 on Monday, you've taken those 3 ways of either or question, a fill in the blank, or a yes or no. Now you're going to respond to the people. So I want you guys to know everything I'm sharing and kind of teaching and training you through, I'm doing live time for you to go back and see how it's working, right? So if you look on Monday, I posted a yes, no question. And then the best part about it was people respond. I posted yes, no question on my Franny Foltz page. And it was just like, hey, what are you doing to fill this time? It was a fill in the blank question. Sorry. And it was just, what are you doing to fill in the time right now during quarantine? Or what is the thing you miss the most during quarantine? If you look, you will see tons and tons of comments. Now, a lot of my posts get a lot of likes. That's one thing. Commenting is taking it the next step further because people are saying what you have to say is valuable. So it's not just a simple thumb, right? And I need to tell you, I do feel badly because I'm a culprit of this. But at times I have... It's so sad. When somebody has lost a loved one, I put a heart or a sad face. Guys, if I can't take 13 seconds to say, I'm so sorry for your loss, that's on me and I will own that. But just that's a little PSA, public service announcement for you. So respond to the post. So I went through every single one of the people's responses and I liked it or I responded personally to them. Because then one thing, Facebook then sees how many people are responding and that you're responding. So it doubles your increase to show and actually to put that message higher in the feed. The algorithm says, oh, wow, this is getting a lot of engagement. So I'm going to move it to the top so more people can see it. So that's a little on aside for you. And then also, guess what? For you, it's also creating a lot of rapport with people as well. So you're continuing to build your community and build your relationship with the people who are engaging with your post. So that's the first thing. So you're going to go ahead and put that post out there, and then you respond to the post. All right. So if you haven't watched Monday's session yet, you can go over to YouTube and you can like my channel there, and you'll get, because sometimes I do exclusive offers, exclusive videos there, and they're not posted anywhere else. So you'll want to go over and do that if you haven't done that yet. The next thing is DMs are really powerful. I shared this a little bit on Monday. A lot of my followers love to send me messages. And a lot of my followers are friends of mine. And so they'll send me a text, or they'll send me an email, or they'll call me after they see something. Case in point, today I did a live video about 9:30 or 10 o'clock. And I had 4 phone calls from that. And I had a lot of people who messaged me directly. They didn't put it in the post there, but they messaged me directly. So what I'm doing is I've always done this since the beginning. I don't have a community engagement manager. That's something to talk about if when you're going into the business like full on. And even though I'm in the business full on, I love having personal connection with people. I had done a community engagement for a former boss, and I'll be honest with you, it was really hard because sometimes I would respond like, thanks. And then she's like, oh my gosh, that's my best friend from 2nd grade, Susie Q. And I was like, ah! And I just wrote thanks because I didn't know. So for me, community building is so important. So I think it's really important for me. And again, you might want to use your resources and times elsewhere to do that. It's really important. So I respond to every single one of my messages. I try to do a lot with voice recording. I am much more verbal than I am with texting or writing or things like that. So it's much easier for me just to hop on a call and do that. So one is you want to go ahead and respond to the post after you put out the question, you've engaged your audience that way, respond to them. Not only is that going to create, higher visibility on Facebook, but it's also going to create a bond, stronger bond. Second is to DM with people. Next is you want to shout out a share. Okay, so this is a perfect example. Somebody had posted on her page a question. It was about fitness. What are you doing? A friend of mine, Cherie, she had posted, what are you doing that's outside of the norm for fitness since you're not in the gym? And people could have put one word like, running, biking, mowing the grass, whatever it was. And so she had a ton of engagement. A shout out to her because she listened to Monday's session and then she went and she did it and she texted me. She actually wrote it on my Facebook page. So if you didn't see that, hop on over and look at that. And she wrote, I've gotten more engagement than I've had in months and months. So what I did was I went onto her Facebook post and I shared that. And I said, wow, Cherie, there's so many creative ways of getting exercise. Here's how I'm doing it. So I gave her a shout out, right? And I gave her credit. You always want to give credit to people, guys. Never repost something. Even if you take a picture, like I will be honest, I save images all of the time. And so I save them and then I'll shout out and be like, thank you so much, Hillary, for giving me this picture or something like that, right? Like I always want to give credit where credit is due. So that's the third way that you want to really try to engage your audience. Because let me just tell you, I referenced Gary Vaynerchuk yesterday. My cousin Sean was on my Monday call and he was like joking about Gary Vaynerchuk. He's not Italian, so what does he know about, what does he know about that anyways? And so I went and I posted that on my story. Now I can guarantee you Gary V himself did not go and tag my story, but his team went on and they responded to me. So by me doing that, I was like, oh my gosh, Gary V responded to my message. It makes people feel good, right? Like, cause you're seen. It's not just like, oh yeah, I put it out there. Now that's not the reason why I did it. I didn't do it because I wanted Gary V. I was just giving a shout out because he's an expert and authority. So I'm positioning myself as like, hey, this is a person I follow, right? So that's kind of how that happens. Next is something that is super, super easy to do, you guys, is to have a contest, right? And have a picture contest. Now, we know a couple things. One, people love their children. Look at all of the things like, oh my gosh, happy Easter, or oh my gosh, this is how we're homeschooling. Or you might even see those first day of school pictures, and then you might see the first day and last day of school pictures glued together. All of those things, people love to post about their kids, right? Now, some people don't post about their kids, FYI, so be careful of what you're posting. But people love posting about their kids, and they love posting about their animals. So you might want to say like, if you're a vet clinic, or if you're a dog walking service, you might want to say something like, hey, share your creative pet's name, and we're going to compile and see how many people have the same name for their animal. And then your next story or your next message or your post or whatever might be we had such a great response from so many of our clients about their pets, blah, blah, blah. We want to know where you got your pet's name. And then you might encourage them to do something with that. Now, some of you might be like, oh, I don't have a pet. Okay, so what am I going to do? Well, then you just say like, hey, this is one of our favorite foods that we've been eating right now during this crazy corona quarantine. What's yours, right? Or what is the one thing you can't live without right now during this corona quarantine? So really be thinking, thank you, Allie, for the great idea. These are just really fun. They're just simple. And I'm like literally like riffing right now, thinking about the people who are on. So I know my friend Jennifer is watching, and so she might say she's a yoga practitioner. She's actually a very holistic person, and so she does a little bit of everything, but I know that one of the things that she offers is yoga. She might say, what is the craziest place you've ever done yoga? Right? I'm thinking of new and creative places to do yoga. I've done stand-up paddleboarding yoga. I've done yoga in a black light room where there's been glow sticks and crazy stuff. So you might just post it and be like, wow, because then guess what? Not only are you getting your feedback from your customers, you might then go on your next post. Now, do you guys see how this is all building? Every single one builds to the next thing. So your next post might say something like, oh my gosh, all of you respond, there were so many fun responses about where you guys have done yoga. I'm thinking about that, doing something like that here. Which of these top 3 would you choose? And you can give them a poll, or you might say, I've narrowed it down to 2, going back to Monday's training. Would you like to do either this or this, right? Would you like to do black light yoga, or would you like to do yoga on the beach? And you throw that out to people. And then all of a sudden, people are like, oh my gosh, she listened to what I said on Monday, and now on Tuesday, she's getting creative. And then again, you're positioning yourself as the expert. So think about your own industry. And if you guys have an industry and you want to post it in here, by all means, like put it up here, and I'll see if I can try to weave that in at all. And so Stephanie is saying that she's thinking about who's teaching coding and where they're online. And I can't see more, but yes, for example, my friend Stephanie is brilliant. She's a mastermind. She's doing a ton of online coding. So for those of you who have kids at home right now, check out her stuff. It's free. She's awesome. She's got a YouTube channel and everything. And that was a total aside plug. But with that being said, she might say something like, hey, do your kids own their own device, right? Yes or no? That might be where she starts on Monday. And then she's going to collect all those people who said yes. And she's going to be like, what kind of device do you own? And then she might put, one of these 3 or other, right? She might list MacBook or Chromebook, and then she might say other. And then of the other people, she's going to say, can you weigh in and tell me what you do? Or she might just respond to them personally, right? So you're constantly going back to like engagement. Hillary's a mediation and conflict resolution girl. I think conflict resolution is where it's at right now during this time when everyone's at home and they're like, right? You might say something like, hey, what is the number one thing you and your spouse are arguing about right now during quarantine? Who's changing the channel? Or I don't know. Maybe you have more than one TV. So those are just some really simple ways. And we're going to keep going because I can go on and coach each and every one of you like 1,000 times. So that makes me excited. Next is, I hate to say this again, because some people don't like posting about their kids, but contests about kids are awesome. Like contests just overall are awesome. People love contests. So you might say something like, I'm just going to go back to the dog situation. So the call to action was, hey, tell us what your dog's name is, right? And then your next post might be something like, tell us where you got your dog's name. And then you might say, post a cute picture of your dog. And we're going to have a contest, and whoever weighs in, because then guess what? All of a sudden, those people are going to say, oh my gosh, Sparky made it onto, cutevetclinic.com. And will you please go over and post? Will you please go over and share? Will you please go over and like? Will you please go over and vote? So now all of a sudden, your company is then reaching out to everyone else's social media platform. So most of your friends have on average, about 500 to 1,000. So you're now going to expose your business to these next circles, right? So you have your immediate followers, and now they're asking their friends to go head over and like that page, right? So you might say something like, if they try it, well, I know that MC is watching right now, and she's tuned in, and she is a fitness person. So she might say something like, hey, post a picture of where you have done your work, the most unusual place you've done your workout this week. And somebody might be in an office, and they're inside of their house. Somebody might be outside at the pool deck, somebody, wherever it is, right? And they might post it. And then she might say, okay, we narrowed it down to the 3 most, exotic places or, fun places to work out. And then from there, She's going to say which of these three, because the person who wins is going to get a 1 month free or one training session free or something. So you want to be able to kind of bait it a little bit too with what they're going to win. So it's going to take a little bit of creativity on your end to figure that out. All right. And so then the next thing you want to think about is behind the scenes. Now, I'm going to do this, as I mentioned earlier in the video, everything I'm sharing with you guys, I'm trying to do so you see how it's done, right? Because here's the thing I know. I watch people. I wrote a book last month, and it's called, I will tell you the title of the book, but in the book, I talk about you're picking 4 to follow, okay? Good job, MC. I'm so glad this is helpful. So with that being said, find your 4 to follow. Find your person who's kind of like your way off 10-year reach, your 5-year, your 1 year, and your right now. For most of you, I'm your right now. Like you're seeing like, oh my gosh, Franny is doing this and building a business, right? And so I'm going to show you a picture, and I've already planned this because I knew what we were doing today. So tomorrow I'm going to show you all a picture, and I will be honest, I'm going to show you right now because you've stayed on and you're part of this community right now. You're going to get a behind the scenes look. Okay, you ready? I got my piles in the corner. I've got my piles over here. Now my house, I'm in the middle of moving. You guys are going to get to see this up close and personal because what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, this is what it looks like to build a business in the middle of a pandemic, right? And a thriving business. Like I'm getting literally new clients every single day. Now I'm not bragging about that, but what I'm saying is you don't have to have it perfect and polished, and you don't have to have like the beautiful, like I have friends who have amazing offices and like they're all beautiful and everything. And that's great, but that's not where I am right now, right? My place is like survival of the fittest. Like I got to get going. People are asking me for information. I would much rather give you guys content and information and create things that you guys want and need right now. No offense. If you have a beautiful office, more power to you. Good on you. But right now I have my mermaid basket full of junk. Okay. So that's what y'all getting. So behind the scenes. So maybe say to them like, hey, this is what, MC, if she's maybe going to like, this is what you're going to need for tomorrow's workout or later today's workout. Tell me something fun we want to add to it. Like this week I'm doing a workout on Saturday and I'm using wooden spoons. Okay, so tune in on that on Saturday. Okay, so with that being said, give them a behind the scenes. Show them like what's up and coming. They love to know, like think about reality TV. People love to know behind the scenes, like voyeur type, kind of freaky a little bit, right? But they want to know. Like if you notice, like oftentimes you guys, I'm on my hair in a ponytail. Like today I curled for you guys, okay? But oftentimes I'm like very real. Like even though I'm a business person, I still have a human side of me. Like you'll see me without makeup. Most times I'm without makeup or my Wet n Wild lip gloss. But today you got the Wet n Wild lip gloss, all right? So people love the behind the scenes. And I see that a couple people had weighed in. Let's see. Yes. Stephanie says, people love behind the scenes. Get ready with me. Yes. If you guys noticed last week, I did it was a time-lapse video, and it was me taking my hair out of curlers. Like I had over 153 views or something, I don't know, something stupid like on Instagram. And I was like, who wants to watch me? But it was kind of like, oh, she's putting hot rollers in her hair like it's 1989 and she's using Clairol. I don't know. So with that being said, yes, behind the scenes, people love seeing what's going on behind the scenes. And then it also gives like a teaser. Like if you look at my Instagram today, I put a picture of me and it's like something new and exciting is coming because I've got a couple announcements coming up for you guys. And I put like, oh, I'm not pregnant, but there's something exciting. So now you'll notice I don't always use the same content, which you totally can. You want to kind of change up the language a little bit, the body of the copy a little bit for both of them. And that's a whole other topic in regards to using hashtags. You definitely want to use hashtags on Instagram, but you don't need to use them as much on Facebook, and we'll talk about that in another session. But with that being said, I put a different post up on Instagram than I put on here, okay? I did drive traffic, hopefully over here for today. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you're tracking with me so far, if everything is sounding good. I know I talk really quickly and I get super excited about this kind of stuff, so hopefully this is helpful to you. But I've got one more thing, and then we're gonna close up. So actually one more way. Okay, good, I'm getting thumbs up, so this is good. So the last thing then is just to repurpose content. Now, you can repurpose from someone else. And again, as I mentioned earlier, you always want to give credit where credit is due, but you can simply repurpose. That's one way from someone else's page. You can share it to yours and be like, this is really fun, right? You can also repurpose your own content. Like I just said, I will post something on Instagram and maybe I'm going to post that tomorrow or Thursday on Facebook. So you want to repurpose. So you're not always having to create the same, you're not always like, oh my gosh, I have 3 different platforms. Now, also, that's something I've talked about from the beginning. You really want to try to narrow it down when you're just starting to 2. You got 2 hands and you really want to try to narrow it down to 2. You don't want to be everything. You can't be everything to everyone. As much as I think you're awesome, and every single person on here I know personally, and you're awesome, but there's a lot of people who are going to watch this and you're still awesome. But here's the thing. You can't be everything to anyone. Okay. Even as awesome as you are. So find your niche. Okay. So with that being said, you can also repurpose not only your own content, but you can take something else. Like last week I posted a Bob Goff quote, and because people who like Bob Goff. So what I did was I took his Bob Goff post and I tagged his name, and then I also put that in my story. So I just simply used it on my in feed, and then I used it in my story. But I tagged him because then guess what? If somebody searches Bob Goff, my name, my post of him could be served to them. Now, millions of people. You probably want to go, again, that pick 4 to follow. You find your 4. You really want to be thinking about that because you probably want to post people who are in your inner spheres of influence. And we're going to talk about that another time. That's a whole other session about cross-pollination. We'll get there. So those are some of the ways that I took our 3 questions on Monday, our simple, low-hanging fruit questions, and then how you add that next layer of engaging with your audience. With repurposing content too, I do want to tell you guys, it's really, really good if you have something that is like edgy, right? So now I'm not saying you get into a political war with people because Lord only knows we don't need any more of that. But you might want to post something that would cause a little bit of question, do you think it's okay to not have healthcare? Right? And some people might be like, that's ridiculous. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And blah, blah, blah. And then some people might be like, of course, I don't have healthcare and, we make enough money and blah, blah, blah. And so as a healthcare person, you might think, okay, well, what is it? What are my objections? If it's a simple yes, no question, what are the objections that people are going to give me? Because most likely you're going to get those responses in your conversations with people, right? So even if you're posting something that's like, hey, you don't have to sweat when you're working out. Some people might be like, well, what's a workout then? I know I think of that because that's one of the reasons why I don't like yoga. Although I really sweat, I don't always feel like I'm getting my heart rate up and stuff. Again, that's a myth. Not to say, and that's just me because I know that Jen's on here. And so hopefully this is helpful because she might say, do you believe you have to sweat to work out? And then she's going to go ahead and she's going to then repurpose that in 50 different ways. Okay. All right. So we're going to keep on moving because I want to tell you a few more things. And I know your time is very precious. And so I apologize I'm so long-winded. I could talk for hours about this. Okay. But the other thing is too, you guys, I need to tell you, I was just talking earlier to 2 friends actually. And I said, the thing that I don't like about doing lives, and I want to create a community of this, is we're going to have a membership group because I want to see you and I want to get your responses and tell me what you've done and how did it work for you when. I'm not getting that. I can't read every single one of your posts in here while I'm doing this. I'm trying, and you can see that my mind's like squirrel everywhere. But with that being said, I really want to create a community of other people who can support each other as they're building their business. But for right now, keep on giving me a thumbs up if it resonates, or if you have a question, put it in the feed by all means, and I'll try to see if I can scroll through the feed and get that. Okay, so I also want to tell you that, of course, the follow-up is most important, you guys. So after you have all these great posts, you've got your content calendar for the week, you're repurposing some of the information, you're tagging people and things like that, you want to make sure that you follow up. Okay, so you might want to message someone directly to find out more. Now, you guys, this takes a lot of time, but guess what? It is worth its weight in gold. I don't have a huge following. I have less than 1,500 people on my email list, and I do a very, very solid business. You don't need to have thousands and thousands of people. A friend of mine who's a coach, she used to be a lawyer. She quit her job making 6 figures. She's making more than that, and she has less people on her list than me. So don't sit there and limit yourself and say, oh my gosh, I don't have enough people on my list. I'm not going to be. No, that's a fallacy. That is a myth, right? So break that down right now. That is not true. But what I'm saying is, because I said you earlier, I respond to every DM. I respond to voicemails, texts, and calls and all that. And because I love creating community. I love people. That's why this quarantine is killing me. But find out more. So if somebody responds and says, oh yeah, I have really bad sciatica, I can't do yoga, and so I'm really bummed because that was my favorite form of yoga. Jen might go ahead and DM them and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. But do you know that I actually do Reiki and I do acupuncture? Or I don't think she does acupuncture, but she could put in the other things that she does. Or she might just say, hey, I'm curious to know about this. Like, how long has this been going on? Like, you don't always have to offer your services. And in fact, most of the time when I'm connecting with people, I'm not. Like, if they want to work with me, like they have stuff available to them, like great. So with that being said, follow up to find out more. Like that is a huge way. And you can't do it with every single person, you guys. But honestly, like if it's a person who I'm personally connected to, I'm certainly going to follow up with them. I always try to make a point to do that. And just ask them, how can I help? Can I direct you to someone, right? Like a friend of mine was looking, she asked about my headshots that I had done. And I said, oh, I wish that I could connect you with my friend here because, you know, this friend lives in Boston. And then I started thinking and I emailed her back and I was like, yeah, you know, I have somebody here in Melbourne, but I just remembered I have this studio. Her name is Jen and Rachel, and they're going to be able to help you. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it took me a few seconds. She's like, thank you so much. So, you know, connecting other people and using your resources is hugely valuable, you guys. We all know that human capital is worth its weight in gold. Okay, I know that I want to keep on going and be mindful of your time. So then what you can do is once you have all of this information, so I would try to do it for like a week. I would try to take this information and, you know, starting with your yes, no questions and then going through and just adding on a couple of these layers. You don't have to do everything, guys. And in fact, if you try to do every one of these, you're going to be overwhelmed. So pick one or two strategies, starting with yes or no, and then just kind of keep on adding and adding just one or two pieces to this. All right. So with that being said, when Allie Jamie says she loves the interaction too, it's so good. It's so important to have a community of people who are like-minded, right? To be a part of that. So with that being said, then now what you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to look at your responses from the week and you're going to analyze. What were the things that people responded most to? What kinds of questions did I ask that people responded most to? What is going to then be my next program that I'm going to offer? What can I put in my 7-week course that I'm going to offer? If people are coming to me, and that's how I started my 7-week mastermind, you guys, is that I had calls for weeks and weeks with people during this crazy pandemic, and they were hours and hours. And I was like, you know what, guys, look, I love you, but I'm going to put you all together. And so that's what happened. Like they were asking me, how do I send an email? How do I put together, you know, the CRM? What do I do for branding? So I literally just put them together and they're in a group, and it's been everybody said they would pay double at this point, more than double, right? So the good thing is I was able to capture that. And because they're part of a community, they feel supported, they feel connected too. So that, whatever you do your analysis and you look at your responses, that week's worth of post can be worth a year's worth of programming. And I know it sounds crazy, but then you're going to keep on fine tuning it and refining it. So with that being said, really get feedback. And look at your page and see what is working and what is not. Ask people, you know, say, hey, do you like what I'm putting out? You know, what is your favorite thing that I put out there? Every week I put out Motivation Monday quotes, or every week I do a workout, or every week, you know, I'm putting out a legal tip Thursday or something. And so you might throw that out there and ask people, like, what is your favorite thing that I do? Or what is the number one thing you want to learn, right? Try to make it as not as thought-provoking. I hate to say that. It's not that we are not surrounded by smart people. It's just that people don't want to think. They just want to be like Donald Miller in the Story Brand. He calls it the grunt test. You should be able to give your information to a caveman and they should be able to grunt and go, like I get it, right? You want it to be that simple. So with that being said, get your feedback from your responses and then map out, okay, what are the themes here? What are the common threads that people are wanting to know about? And then you want to go ahead with that then. You want to look and see what are your best posts, and then which ones are getting the most engagement, and then you want to try to replicate that with new content. Again, think about your industry, think about how you can then take and make those posts resemble, and there's actually, they call it lookalike audiences on Facebook. You can do lookalike posts, right? So people who are, you create a post that looks like the one from last week. Now, not physically looks like, it doesn't have to be the same kind of quote card, but hopefully you listened to last week's branding and you now have some branding elements that you've been able to add into. And if you didn't get to watch that, it's probably gone in Facebook somewhere, even though it's still archived here. Just hop on over to YouTube and you can find it. Just look up the one that says branding on the Shine with Brandy page. Okay, so that is just kind of like the deep dive, but I can literally probably go on for another hour. I probably could just talk about responding to posts. So give me a thumbs up if this was helpful to you. Let me know if there's one thing you plan on trying this week. I would love to hear what that thing is, because here's the thing. What I want to do, and I'll just give you a little insider tip, like it's not going to help me to keep it to myself. I'm going to go, if you're going to try something and you tag me, I'm going to go and I'm going to respond to yours. And most likely, I'm going to share yours, because that's what we call cross-pollination. So now you've added me, you shared with me, right? You put my name on there. I go over, I respond, and then I share yours. If you ask a yes, no question, or if you ask something that's really fun, you might just go ahead. I might just go ahead and share it then. And then all of a sudden, my 2,000 friends or whatever have now seen it. So now you're opening up like, oh, that was a really cool question, or that was really funny, or that was whatever it is. Okay. So please, 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 by all means, tag me, Shine with Franny. Just tag Shine with Franny in there. And then I'll go over and I'll respond. And then all of a sudden, I think I actually have about 2,000, 1,800 maybe. I don't even know. You guys, I need to be honest. Like, I'm not a numbers person by nature, but I really don't look at numbers. I look at how many people I engaged with. And I've had accountants tell me that's really bad. And I know. But here's the thing. I've never not been able to pay the electric bill. So God's got it. I've always been able to tithe, whatever. So I'm not necessarily saying that that's a good business practice, but what I'm saying is a couple years ago, was getting so caught up when I first started Shine. I was getting so caught up in numbers, and the marketing person who I was working with, who is going to be one of the guests on our, and I'll tell you guys about this now, because I'm taking this Wednesday group that you guys are part of right now, and we're creating a membership group, and it's called Luminaries. Because if you don't know, a luminary is a person, an expert in one particular field. And it also goes along with like Luminate, which is part of Shine. So see how that all works there? But so my friend Patty is going to be a guest. And she is going to talk about marketing. But she was the one who helped me reframe my mind, because I was so focused on numbers. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had people unsubscribe from my list. Oh my gosh, I had people who stopped liking me. And I had people, like all of those things. And I was getting so focused on that. And she said, stop the insanity. For those of you who remember Susan Powder from 1989, you know what I'm talking about. Stop the insanity. And she said, you have got to stop looking at just the numbers. And also, over a period of a day is not enough. And for those of you who have marketing background, you know you have to look at it long term. And if you do have a Facebook page, hopefully you do, because you know you have to keep things separately. Hopefully you have the Pages app. Make sure you do, because you can get the quantitative metrics on there to see how your posts are performing and what your highest performing posts are and things like that. And also, it's going to give you the opportunity then to look and see. And you can figure out, I think it's 1 day, 1 week, and 1 month, like the last 28 days. I set mine to 28 days because I really started focusing and saying like, okay, God, like it might not be about, the number of people. When we think about Jesus, like he had lots and lots and lots of people who followed after him. But he had his 12 tribe, right? And that 12 tribe, you guys, they built the church. So when we think about that, like it's 2,000 years old, right? What Jesus created is pretty long-standing. So with that being said, I focus on the quality of people that I get, the quality of connection that I have with people, the relationship I have with people. And if you're interested in Luminary, I'll post maybe a separate post or drop the link in here. It's a 1-month membership group. I'm giving it to you guys at a special rate because of Corona. It's $29 for the entire month. There are 4 calls, 1 day a week, every Wednesday, every week I'll be doing a post. I'll still be doing the Monday live posts, and those will be related. So the people who are part of Luminary, they'll get the Monday information, but then they'll also get this Wednesday information in the deep dive. It'll be an hour long, and then they'll also be able to bring their questions and get live coaching from me. Hey, this isn't working, or hey, what do you think about this? Or these are my metrics here, or what's a good affiliate group to be a part of? So as I mentioned, my friend Patty, she's going to be there next week. She worked at Bonnie Bell. She worked for the Cavs. She works at KeyBank right now. And so she will be the person who's on next week as our expert. So every month you'll have an expert. Every month you'll have a wow and a now, all the tips and the trends and the tricks, the things that are going on that you're like, whoa, that's so cool. Like there's some really cool new features that Facebook's doing to try to keep up with Zoom, and YouTube's trying to do to keep up with Amazon. So we're going to talk all about what some of those things are, so you can become the industry leader in your specific sphere of influence. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can DM me or just put below interested, and then I'll just follow up with you guys below. That will meet Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, $29. And I would encourage you to invite friends, people, because it's always better too. Like after our session is over, then you can go and like carry on the conversation and be like, hey, I'm trying this, So we'll be doing that, and it's a great networking opportunity. So there's just so many benefits of being a part of a group like this. But I love doing lives, but I don't see you. I see your little names pop up. Like sometimes my eyes they're 44-year-old eyes, you guys, and I wear really, really strong contacts. So, all right, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any further feedback. Let me know what you're going to try. Tag me in your post. I know that's a lot of calls to action. I'm like the worst person right now. And if you haven't subscribed to Shine with Franny on YouTube, go and do that, because I'm going to change it to Tuesdays now, but every Tuesday I'm going to be sharing a blog with you that's called a vlog, VLOG, because it's a video blog put together. So I'd love to hear from you guys. As always, please let me know, and I'll be checking your post later today. And I am super excited. And Hillary, I'm super excited to have you. Hopefully you'll join us with Luminaries. And I can't wait to see you guys, but I'll be here next Monday for sure on with a Social Media Monday session. But we're starting our Luminary group next Wednesday. So it will replace this group. So we're going to be logging on live on a Zoom session, and you all get to be together and see each other. Thank you so much, Allie. I loved having you on today. You're the best. Thank you guys. Have a great day. And I look forward to getting your posts and my tags with Shine with Franny in them. Have a great day.